All right, everyone, get ready, because
Oh,
today we are diving deep, deep into China's Cultural Revolution.
oh yeah.
We're talking a full-on decade of upheaval, and we're going to break it all down. We've got our sources right here, and let me tell you, just skimming through this Wikipedia article, Cultural Revolution, it's been a wild ride.
It's a big one.
So politics, art, daily life, everything gets turned upside down. And our mission here, if you choose to accept it, is to figure out why this event, as massive as it was, why it still matters today, even for those of us who,
Yeah.
aren't exactly history buffs.
Right. Well, you see, and this is what I find so fascinating about it. You might think, okay, Cultural Revolution, history lesson, but how does it affect me? But here's the thing, the Cultural Revolution, it's like this cautionary tale, right?
Hmm.
It's a reminder of what can happen when ideology and power, when those things collide. And those echoes, they still resonate, especially in China today. But really, I think understanding this period gives us a whole new way of looking at the world.
It's true. And the thing that really got me, first thing, right off the bat, and I'm pulling this straight from the Wikipedia article, the term Cultural Revolution, before the 1960s,
Yeah.
meant something totally different.
No way.
I'm talking education, literacy, positive social change. Can you imagine?
Wow, yeah. It's really wild how the meaning, it's like the word itself got, I don't know, hijacked maybe.
Yeah.
Because you see, the Chinese Communist Party, their goals, they're evolving, right?
Mhm.
And the meaning of Cultural Revolution, it morphed right along with them. So early on, sure, it was about building a new society.
Right.
But as Mao Zedong, as his grip on power tightened, the term, it took a dark turn.
Mm.
This wasn't about literacy anymore, not really. It was about controlling the story, about eliminating anyone who disagreed.
And that takes us to something, well, something pretty chilling when you read about it, the anti-rightist campaign, late 1950s.
Yeah, yeah.
And Wikipedia does not hold back. Mass arrests, purges.
Yeah.
It's like a preview of what's to come.
It really foreshadows, like, you can't overstate how terrifying that campaign was.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you're an intellectual, an artist, anyone with an opinion that's not, perfectly in line. You were targeted, simple as that, imprisoned, labor camps, or worse.
It's heavy stuff.
And the thing is, the anti-rightist campaign, it wasn't just about silencing people, it was about making an example out of them.
Making a statement.
Exactly.
And then we have the Great Leap Forward. This was supposed to be China's, economic miracle.
Right.
But, oh boy,
Yeah.
talk about a backfire. Wikipedia goes into the details, the catastrophic famine, the hit to Mao's reputation. It's huge. And it really sets the stage, doesn't it, for all the turmoil that's coming.
Oh, absolutely. This is where we start to see the cracks in Mao's authority.
Mm,
Because the Great Leap Forward, it wasn't just a policy failure.
right.
It was personal, a blow to his ego.
Wow.
Imagine that paranoia, that need to regain control just brewing inside
Yeah.
him. Right there, that's where the seeds of the Cultural Revolution, that's where they're sown.
It's like the origin story almost.
Yeah, he needed someone to blame, an enemy to rally against, and tragically, he found it.
Within his own party.
Exactly, within Chinese society itself, really.
So you've got this, powder keg of tension, right? Years of this buildup, and then May 1966,
Yeah.
things kick off officially, according to this Wikipedia article, and Mao, he goes all in, unleashes this whole critique of, quote, bourgeois elements
Mm.
that he says are, get this, infiltrating the party itself, society at large.
Wow.
And the way he frames it, it's wild. He uses this phrase, bombard the headquarters, which is, I don't know about you, but
Little on the nose.
yeah, it's a call to action, but a scary one.
It's a bold move, that's for sure.
Mhm.
To call for the dismantling of basically your own system, it's not something you see every day.
No.
But that's what's happening here, right?
Yeah.
With the 16 May notification, Mao's basically declaring war.
And not just a war of ideas.
No, a real war.
Yeah.
On anyone he sees as a threat. And remember,
He's still reeling from the Great Leap Forward,
exactly, his authority's shaky at best.
trying to hold on.
So this is his way to, consolidate power, silence dissent before it can even start.
Ruthless.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't stop there, this call to action. It takes root in this, well, honestly, a chilling way.
Oh, yeah.
The Wikipedia article talks about this student poster, Peking University,
Okay.
and it's like, I don't know, someone lit a match next to a fireworks factory.
Whoa.
Protests erupt, they spread like crazy through Beijing, and suddenly all this talk of revolution,
It's real.
it's not theoretical anymore, it's happening.
You can feel that energy, right? In that poster, that anger, the frustration.
Totally.
And it resonated, especially with young people.
Makes sense.
They felt disillusioned, left behind, and here they are, seeing themselves as the, I don't know, the true heirs to this revolution.
Wow.
They're ready to fight for their vision no matter what.
And that's where the Red Guards come in.
They-
These groups of students ready to, I guess, tear down the old world.
They wanted to build something new, and they were willing to do whatever it took.
Things escalate quickly. Red August 1966. It's chaos. The Wikipedia article doesn't sugarcoat it. But then there's this detail that I found so interesting.
Yeah.
They send these work teams to universities, right? The idea, on paper at least, was to restore order.
Right.
But it backfires, and I mean spectacularly, like trying to put out a fire with gasoline, you know?
Those work teams, they never stood a chance. It was like trying to have a rational conversation with a hurricane.
That's a good way to put it.
These students, the Red Guards, they were caught up in this fervor, this belief that they were like purifying the nation.
And anyone who wasn't with them
was the enemy.
Exactly.
The work teams weren't just ineffective, they were obstacles to be overcome.
And then comes the turning point. Mao doubles down, issues this call to, well, you know, bombard the headquarters.
Shares, literal shares.
Right. And everything changes. Suddenly it's not enough to criticize.
It's about action, about destroying the old ways.
Bombard the headquarters.
3 words that unleashed a wave of, well,
Violence,
destruction all across China.
The gloves are off.
It was open season on the 4 olds.
Right. Old ideas, old culture, old customs, old habits.
It wasn't symbolic anymore. This was about erasing the past,
Yeah.
anything that didn't fit this very narrow vision of the future.
And that's where we see this just tragic destruction of cultural heritage. I mean, temples, museums, libraries, even Confucius's tomb.
No way.
It's in the Wikipedia article. They didn't hold back. Countless historical texts gone.
It's hard to even fathom the scale of the loss.
Imagine, like, the Library of Alexandria burning down.
It's that level.
Multiple.
And what's worse, so much of it, it wasn't random. It was organized, sanctioned.
People thought they were doing good.
A lot of them believed it. They were purifying the nation.
It's really, I don't know, it makes you think about the power of ideology, how dangerous it can be.
It's a cautionary tale, for sure.
And you listening right now, think about this. This wasn't just about buildings. It was about destroying a whole way of life, a culture, history, a race.
And those echoes, they linger.
They do. And as we move into the late 60s, things get, well, if you thought it was chaotic before, buckle up, because the Wikipedia article really paints this picture of just escalating chaos.
Yeah.
Power struggles everywhere you look, and this power seizure movement takes hold, and it's intense.
It's brutal.
Radical groups overthrowing local government, like the system itself is unraveling.
It's hard to overstate how quickly things spiraled.
Yeah.
I mean, the Communist Party,
The
right?
Communist Party.
The very institution that was supposed to, maintain order.
Right.
They're struggling to contain the very forces that they unleashed.
It's a monster they can't control.
Exactly. And the power seizure movement, it just throws gasoline on that fire.
And we see it play out in a really stark way with the January storm in Shanghai, 1967.
Oh, yeah.
The Wikipedia entry on that one is wild.
It's like something out of a movie.
Group of radical activists, they just take control of the city.
And they're not messing around, these guys. They're not interested in just, critiquing the government.
Right.
They want to burn it all down, start over, impose their vision on everyone.
It's a whole other level.
And it shows how quickly things can unravel.
Yeah.
How fragile order really is.
And in the middle of all this, you have the army getting called in.
Right. Trying to restore some sense of,
Control.
yeah, but even they are caught in this web.
The 3 supports and 2 militaries initiative, it sounds so official, like they've got a plan.
Right. But then you read the details and you realize even the army was divided.
Yeah.
Different factions, different loyalties. It's a mess.
Adding fuel to the fire, almost.
In many ways, yeah.
And it culminates in this event, the Wuhan incident, 1967, and the Wikipedia entry on this,
Intense.
open conflict between mass organizations and the military.
The stakes couldn't be higher, and it just shows how volatile the situation had become.
And then, just when you think it can't get any crazier, we enter the 70s, and the story takes another sharp turn. Lin Biao enters the scene. Mao's chosen successor, he's being positioned as the heir apparent, right? And then, boom, Project 571.
Talk about a plot twist.
Alleged coup attempt, mysterious death, it throws everything into question.
I mean, this is the guy Mao's right-hand man, and suddenly he's the enemy.
It makes you wonder what was really going on.
Exactly, and it made people question everything, the entire narrative of the Cultural Revolution, Mao's own judgment.
And then, as if things weren't turbulent enough, we have the rise and fall of the Gang of Four.
Ah, yes, the Gang of Four.
Reading about them, it's like they represent this extreme element, even within the context of the Cultural Revolution.
Oh, absolutely. They took the most radical ideas to their, well, to their logical extreme, which was often terrifying.
And it really further damaged the image of the revolution, even among those who had initially supported it.
Because it wasn't just about ideology anymore. It was about power, pure and simple.
And then, in 1976, Zhu Enlai dies. And it feels like a turning point.
It's a huge moment.
This outpouring of grief, but also anger, frustration, it's all bubbling to the surface.
People were tired of the chaos, the violence. They wanted stability.
And that leads to the Tiananmen incident, right? Which, I mean, that in itself is a whole other story.
We could do a whole deep dive on just that.
Right. So we've got the death of Mao, the end of the Cultural Revolution, but it's not over. Not really.
No, the legacy, that's the thing about revolutions, the impact. It echoes through history.
So Deng Xiaoping takes power, condemns the Cultural Revolution as a grave mistake.
Which, I mean, understatement of the century. Right?
Yeah, the damage is done.
The death toll, the cultural destruction, the persecution, it's impossible to calculate the full cost.
Hundreds of thousands, millions. The Wikipedia article gives this range, and it's staggering.
And we have to remember, these aren't just numbers.
Right.
These are real people, each with their own story, their own hopes, their own dreams, extinguished.
It's easy to get lost in the historical narratives, the dates, the names.
But at the end of the day, it's about individual lives forever altered.
And that's what makes the Cultural Revolution so important to study, so relevant to us today.
Absolutely. It's a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, of ideology run amok.
And it's a story that, sadly, continues to resonate in different ways in different places, even today.
We can learn from the past, but only if we choose to remember it.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the complexities of the Cultural Revolution. We've barely scratched the surface, but hopefully this deep dive has given you a starting point, a new perspective on this tumultuous period in history.
And maybe even inspired you to learn more.
Thanks for joining us.